All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to another great episode on your favorite political talk show, The Truth with Ben Jokes. Now, during the campaigns, Obi opened our eyes to the amount of oil that is being stolen in Nigeria on a daily basis. Then he went ahead to point out the mechanism of oil theft so that we can know through the resources involved that only rich and powerful Nigerians can actually steal Nigeria's oil. And some people came out and said he was just criticizing the elites in order to get favor from poor Nigerians. But events unfolding now have exonerated Obi because some hours ago, news broke out that TINUBU's Chief of Naval Staff, Emmanuel Ogala, is in trouble over multi-billion oil bunkering fraud. And all Nigerians could say was, Obi said it. Before I show you how the papers reported that update and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you how Peter Obi himself completely tore into TINUBU in his latest interview. Look at how the papers reported it. TINUBU should be in Guinness World Records for causing Nigerians most hardship, Peter Obi. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party and former Anambra State Governor, Peter Obi, has stated that TINUBU should be in Guinness World Records for causing Nigerians the most hardship, untold hardship. Speaking in an interview with Vanguard, he noted that Nigerians on the streets could judge the performance of TINUBU so far since May 2023. Recall that TINUBU had recently bragged that he deserved to be included in Guinness World Records over his performances in the country since he assumed leadership. Reacting, Peter Obi said he may actually be correct when he claims that his name deserves to be in Guinness World Records. Don't forget that people's names don't always make it into Guinness World Records for only altruistic reasons. So it depends on which angle he is coming from. If the idea is to put his name in the Guinness Book of Records for causing Nigerians the most hardship, untold hardship, of course he is spot on, and I will totally agree with him because his reforms are not achieving what they are meant to achieve. Well, for me, the biggest lesson from 2023 general elections is the fact that Nigerians are actually committed to good governance. They are not as complacent as people thought they were because they, especially the youths, were actually committed to doing the right thing. That is why they came out in their numbers to participate in the elections. The second lesson is the realization that the leaders, most people in the elite class, are not actually interested in good governance because you can classify the electoral umpire, that is Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, as part of the elite class. The government, all of us are not prepared to do the right thing because if the elites are prepared to do the right thing, the result or the outcome of the election would have been different. But for me, the elections have come and gone, and I don't want to talk about the issue of 2023 elections again. It has come and gone, and I'm done with it. What I'm talking about now are issues of governance, because the average Nigerian today is talking about the Nigeria of today and the Nigeria of tomorrow. That is what is important. Speaking on how he rates the government so far, he said, that is really a question for the generality of Nigerians to answer. Ask the average Nigerian how he is faring today. The truth is that we have many more Nigerians thrown into poverty. Millions of Nigerians don't know where the next meal will come from. Nobody is sure what the price of a cup of rice or garri or a loaf of bread will be tomorrow. So it is Nigerians that you should ask that question. It is not a question for me to answer. It is not something I alone will tell you. Ask Nigerians, the masses out there on the streets of Nigeria, and you will get a feel of what they are going through. But I know that the situation is critical. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Look at some of the tweet reactions. This tweet here says, he couldn't have said it any better. TINUBU is a colossal fraud. Again, I don't understand why anyone expects anything good from him. And this tweet by John Iyanu says, economic backwardness, insecurity, corruption. Baba has broken those three records as far as I know. Other people know the rest. And this tweet here says, absolutely correct. His style of making things worse has never been seen. He makes decisions without thinking about the effects, so he should be recognized for that. Yes. And this tweet here says, the people's president, Nigeria, it is just a pity. And this tweet by Kehinde Balogun says, in fact, I regret say I was born in this country. Fake leaders, God will judge you, president. And this tweet by LA says, TINUBU is a fundamental failure and anyone expecting an economic turnaround from him is seeing a mirage. That is it. And this tweet by Leo says, I'm so surprised how Northerners suddenly shouting Mr. Peter Obi is absolutely true. God abeg, help TINUBU to show those who supported him more shege. Chai. Now, let us look at the updates on TINUBU's Chief of Naval Staff. Look at how the papers reported it. Exclusive. Naval Chief Emmanuel Ogala lands in trouble over multi-billion naira oil bunkering contract splitting fraud. Barely 7 months into his tenure as Chief of Naval Staff, Emmanuel Ogala is now battling to save his job after being flagged for his role in aiding a loosely coordinated bunkering of Nigerian crude and multi-billion naira contract splitting fraud. People's Gazette can report after reviewing documents and speaking with federal sources familiar. Mr. Ogala's sprawling raid of military earmarks has already drawn awareness of Defense Minister Bello Matawalle, the Gazette was told, although it was not immediately understood how far he would be willing to go to hold the Naval Chief accountable. Two sources said Mr. Matawalle until last week was also still being supplied with details of what they characterized as Mr. Ogala's disturbing exploits in Nigerian territorial waters. The Gazette reviewed how Mr. Ogala freed several oil tankers busted for transporting stolen crude off Nigerian shores after receiving kickbacks in millions of American dollars, and also rebuffed internal calls to remove his underlings who helped facilitate the scheme, underscoring the steepness of a debased practice that has assailed top players in Nigeria's oil security and administration for decades. Mr. Ogala, 55, was named by TINUBU in June 2023 to replace Awal Zubairu Gambo, who had faced similar accusations while serving from 2021 to 2023. A Defense Ministry source mentioned that efforts to inform the president had reached an advanced stage. How TINUBU would handle the crisis was unclear, and a spokesman declined comments Friday morning. Earlier this month, a minister was suspended from office after TINUBU learnt of her untidy use of public funds, but the administration tried to appreciate the perils of the protracted stealing of Nigeria's oil when National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu cried out in August and subsequently suggested an ambitious plan to curtail the crisis. The NSA did not immediately return a request seeking comments. Preliminary investigations estimated Mr. Ogala had accepted over $170 million in bribes over the past 6 months alone. In 2022, a top Nigerian banker and oil executive, Tony Elumelu, said over 95% of Nigeria's crude output is stolen, delivering billions of dollars in an annual windfall to perpetrators who have long been said to range from state governors to administrative workers at the State Oil Corporation. And this was what Peter Obi said even before Tony Elumelu said it. He said most of Nigeria's oil is being stolen, that what is coming in that they are stealing from is even less than 10%. Yet the same guys who steal most of the oil will still come and steal most of that 10% that is coming in. What kind of madness is this? And that is why we keep putting this information out, because we want to believe that if a normal human being who is not crazy hears this kind of things, they should be able to make informed decisions. Because if you are not a crazy person, how can you hear that these guys are stealing over 90% of Nigeria's crude, and you know that it is the APC and PDP people because they have been the ones in charge of the country. How can you hear this kind of information if you are normal upstairs and you will not reject them with every bone that is inside of you? And look at how Nigerians reacted. Look at some of the tweet reactions. This tweet by Omega says, ordinary people can't steal crude oil. His Excellency Peter Obi, he just quoted Obi. And this tweet by OZ says, ordinary people don't steal crude oil. Peter Obi, Tokam. That is it. Now, in the report, I heard something like, efforts to report the man to the president has reached advanced stage. Now, the biggest foolishness in all this is to think that that man was acting alone. They said the former naval staff, the former chief of naval staff, the one before him, was accused of doing the same thing. He came in and began doing the same thing. They know what they are doing. This is a cartel. They are all working together to continue to impoverish Nigerians. He has allegedly taken in bribes $170 million in just 6 months. Buhari was there for 8 years and this was going on. Imagine the amount of money. When Obi did the calculation during the campaigns, it sounded unreal. Could this be true? Now you are seeing it. And the elites will continue to enrich themselves. You see them going about. You see their children living large outside Nigeria. Once they feel small headache like this, they are traveling out, while the healthcare system is dying here in Nigeria. And this is how it is going to continue with APC, with PDP. We are not going to have anything really different. And it is the people that will continue to suffer until the people stand up and say, no, this will not continue. Cast aside all these aboriginal sentiments and say, no, these people cannot continue to impoverish us. Until the people stand their ground, this is how they will continue living in bondage. And I'm not talking about the movie. Anyway, make I leave am here. Make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una, now I dey here. So, don't go away. Don't go.